Hello, friends. My name is Max. Welcome to another episode of The Greatest Prelude. And on today's episode, we're going to be discussing a little bit about relationships. Relationships are a very interesting subject because there's different stages of them and different ways that we relate to people. Every single thing that you're doing is some form of a relationship. And depending on how you are on the inside is what is dictating what's happening on the outside. So if you are emotionally imbalanced, as we all have been, then a lot of the things that are happening in the outside world are also stemming some sort of emotional imbalance or this type of immaturity that we might have expressed at some point in our life. Man, the more that we grow into conscious maturity and we're aware of our own triggers and our emotions and we learn how to be balanced in them, the more that our relationships with every single person will change. And we will gravitate towards people who are in a similar way of thinking and similar energy as we are. In the beginning of reality, or like just growing up, we have had a very different perception of relationships that were trauma bonds. And these trauma bonds are very sticky situations. Because of a negative or because of a traumatic event that occurred when we were younger, it shaped every single relationship after that. So, for example, let's say you had an abusive mother and you're a male. You might grow up looking for other relationships that are very similar to the way that your mother had projected her love onto you. Maybe her way of loving is through gifts or through certain things. So we will inevitably look because subconsciously we believe that love is exactly like our mother. So we might have a very toxic mother or a toxic father, and they're just at that time they were doing what they knew because of what they understood their reality and people to be. So, of course, they're going to show you what they believe because it's how they're viewing their reality at that time. So, as they're parenting you, they are parenting through their perception, through their reality. And it is as you evolve and you grow older, you realize that you don't want to necessarily do the things that your parents did. You're going to want to change little things because it's more real and authentic to you. Because maybe your mom was trying to give you orange juice, but you did it realistically like orange juice. You wanted something different. So you chose something different. You prefer apple juice now just because of a conscious decision that you made. And that's just a small little metaphor and example of a change that you could have done, but it is much greater than that. You're changing an entire perception rather than just like orange juice and apple juice. You're saying, you know what my parents showed me doesn't work. I know that there is something much better for me personally and how I relate and how I want to relate to life and how I can look for different relationships that mirror what I want. So at the beginning, we have toxic relationships. And these toxic relationships are relationships based purely on a trauma bond, which is meaning that I am lacking in something. And I believe that my partner outside of me will fulfill these needs. And maybe I had an emotional parent, father or mother, which all of us are in like a when the emotions aren't there, like the word where you're not emotionally available. We have had parents, almost everyone has had emotionally unavailable parents. So we seek relationships with individuals who are also emotionally unavailable. And then we get mad at why aren't you like fulfilling my needs? But it's because a lot of the people can't fulfill your needs. But that's what we look for subconsciously is people who can't fulfill our needs Or maybe even that thought that, oh, I might want to save somebody, or I want to heal this person. And that's not the case. These Every single person is meant to be appreciated for who they are, mess and all, because that's what makes them who they are at that time. And if they choose to evolve or not, that's completely up to them. And that's the lovely part about relationships, is that you don't have to change anyone, and you shouldn't have to change yourself either. You shouldn't have to be this perfect person that you're not, right? Or this ideal. Just who you are in the moment is perfect. And that's the beautiful thing about evolving into like a different type of relationship, which is for healing partners. In the beginning of the toxic relationships, a lot of you guys are like fighting, you're butting heads all the time. It's like a lot of pushing, pulling, running away. You understand the negative patterns, but you have to be aware of your own negative pattern first, because it's so easy to watch what the other person is doing, but you're the person who's deciding that that's a reality. Like if I think that that person outside of me is a problem, if I agree that there is a problem, I'm stating in my universe, in my immediate universe, that there is a problem to begin with. If there is no problem in my universe, then there is no problem outside of me, because there's no problem at all. There's just something I'm observing and I'm neutral towards. But getting to that type of stage of neutrality takes time and practice to view things and view people neutrally rather than judging them as positive or negative. And so when we learn and readjust to viewing things in a more positive light, then it's adding more true focus of what's really going on. And what's really going on is just you're observing. This thing that you're watching is just a movie. It's just a way that you're relating with life. And you're choosing to relate with life as viewing it as positive or negative. But what's happening right now is a neutral event. And you're choosing to make it whatever you want to make it because of what your thinking has taught you in the past, that this event is either positive or negative. And that's the beauty about life, is that you get to decide what you want to see. If you want to see something as beautiful, you are. If you want to see something as horrible, you are. It's however you choose to decide this exact moment is. But you can always change it to be something else. So a toxic relationship, for example, we might have viewed it as toxic. But as soon as you switch perspective and say, how can this be an opportunity for my healing? Then it's something completely different. Now, instead of it being a toxic relationship and only viewing the negative patterns, now you're from an elevated view saying, how can this be a potential for my healing? How can I heal because of the triggers that I'm aware of that are being brought up by the other person? So there's a lot of self-reflection that has to be done as this relationship evolves. And the more that you're aware of all the negative things that you do or the judgments that you cast upon yourself, you're realizing that, I don't need to judge anymore, because I realize that this person, this friend, my partner is helping me not to be scared or not to feel negative emotions as erratically, and to feel more emotionally balanced while being with them, while being in their presence. And so we are learning to be more neutral, especially as negative events occur. Because something might happen that might piss you off, but it's how you handle yourself is what's saying what state of consciousness you're in at the moment. So if something irritates you for a moment, that irritation is like, okay, I was irritated for a moment. Excuse me. And then it changes. Just like that feeling that I had in my heart, right? I felt like I had a burp, but I controlled it. And instead of it getting far away from me, I controlled how I was feeling. So I changed that exact thing. I was able to change how I'm thinking and how I'm behaving in the moment. And just because I made that decision, the relationship that I have with myself, or also mirroring my reality, mirroring my relationships, I was able to change myself first. What I expected from myself, which was to be calm in that situation. And therefore, I added a calming presence in that situation that needed my love and respect. And that's exactly what I provided in this specific relationship. Is I added an opportunity for space so that I can react how I needed to, and how we can also allow our friends and our relationships to respond and do as they need to as well. It's so beautiful what relationships can do, because they're always an opportunity for us to heal. If I view someone as angry all the time, there has to be something in me that's saying that anger is a part of my reality. So I have to look within myself, and I have to ask, what am I so angry about? Why do I keep saying anger in everyone? Right? And this is a good example of how we view reality and how we unconsciously project it on the outside world. So you might have a specific view of reality, and you're projecting it onto everything that you see unconsciously, and you don't even realize it. But this wound, whether it be guilt, shame, judgment, fear, or anger, it's something that's so deep that we're not even aware of, that isn't even ours. But it's our parents and their parents forged into how we view reality. And that's an interesting thing about how we all carry this pain being born into this world. And not everyone has the will to actually be aware of the pain. But now that you're projecting into a more positive relationship with life, you have to come face to face with all of this pain that our ancestors put onto us so that we can heal it, so that inevitably we could be in healed relationships. So, because we have our healing partners that help us to be aware of where we need to heal, we realize that, you know what, we're on our own healing journey. I don't need to change you. You don't need to change me. I realize that who I am as a conscious observer, everything in my reality is already perfect. I don't need to change a single thing. Everything that I see is already perfect. Everything that I see within you is already perfect. You don't need to change it all. So that's where divine relation occurs. True divine relationship, because I'm expecting this divine mysterious mystery that I'm observing, and it's okay. Whatever I'm observing, it's just here. There's something here that I'm watching, and this thing, I we have no true idea of anything that we're observing. We don't know where it came from. We don't know what will happen when we die. We have no idea at all. But we're just grateful for the relationship that we have right now, as I'm observing this thing that I have no idea what its origins are. So that's, the relationship that you're having with your partner now, is you're having an opportunity to just watch. You're just curious. What is this? Where did you come from, and where are you gonna go? How is it that you're conscious? How is it that you made up this body so that I can appreciate? How is it that you're here and that you exist? How is it that you're able to feel so much pain yet exhibit so much love? Isn't that interesting? You don't know where you come from. And I don't. I don't know where I come from. I think I have some sort of a fucking idea, but it's a ballpark. I can't hit it spot on yet, but I'd like to at some point. And that's all of us, right? We're aiming to what we think is perfect. But none of us are going to be perfect for anyone or even ourselves, because it's an impossible standard. But all we can do is say perfect is different for everyone. Maybe what I think is perfect for me, you might think is horrible. But I choose to see it in love. And you have the opportunity as well. If you choose to see every single person do something that used to irk you and view it as perfect, then you're naming everything perfect. But if you view every single thing that some person does as negative, then all you see is negative. So if I were to view someone or something different and love in everything that they do, then you're changing your whole entire perspective of how you view your reality, and you're adding more love into this universe just because of your perspective. And you told the universe, I'm going to choose to view this same thing in love. I can either view my partner in negativity or positivity. One is going to make our relationship grow a lot more. If I keep on noticing and poking at all of her faults, she's not going to love me anymore. But if I focus on all the things that I love about her, she's going to grow and love love me more, just because I'm aware of everything that she is, and just her presence and her existence is just so perfect. Everything about her is perfect. Everything about who he is as a person is perfect. There's nothing that he needs to change. There's nothing that I need to see him do that'll make me love him any differently. Because he and she, all of this infinity, all of this infinite love is what makes us all. We just love just to love. And we feel what we need to feel. And we appreciate everything that we can, because it's going to make our relationships better, just because we chose to see them in love. Friends, I'd like to say thank you for joining me on another episode of The Greatest Prelude. And it has been what feels like a couple months now since I've made an episode, but I'm very grateful that we made this one regarding relationships. And that's the most important thing that we can do, is learn how to create a better relationship in here. And then we can bring it on to our next door neighbor who needs love. Everyone needs love, and we can, instead of forcing it at them, we're just very lightly like, hey, that's it. Slowly. And then, hey, 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 oh, hey, so you start to add more to everyone you see. And every single person you see is just a reflection of your inner beauty. And that's the wonderful thing about relationships, because how you're relating with everyone is how your relationship is with yourself. Maybe there's certain parts of you that you like, or certain parts that you don't like, or don't even want to admit exist. But you have to be okay with it. You don't have to be okay, but you have to acknowledge this exists. And if you stay neutral with it, then eventually it'll transform into something that's perfect. If I view something as beautiful, or I view something as negative, and I hold it down to that perspective, I don't let it be something else. But if I release it from a negative perspective and I view it as, this is okay, then I'm adding space for it to be something new. I pulled a card out today, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So my friend gave me this a while ago, maybe a couple Christmases or birthdays ago. I don't remember. But the card says, joy is not in things, it is. Wait, what? Joy is not in things. Joy is in us. It's shifting our perspective and realizing that joy or love is not in things, it's not in physical material, it's not in the outside world. It's what's in here saying or dictating love and joy everywhere else. Because of what's already in here, we chose to view it outside because of what's already in here, because of what we already know is joyful and loving and filled with compassion. And we choose to see it everywhere we go. And that's the beauty of joy and shifting our perspective is we decide where it is. It's not just one thing. It's not just a phone or a person. It's you. And you're making that thing and you're labeling it as joy. So thank you very much again, and I will be seeing you very soon.